YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back with episode 1 of 32 of my 2021 NFL offseason rebuilds. Again, doing one for every single team. This one for the Miami Dolphins. You're probably wondering why the Dolphins are first. Very shortly, we'll get to what determines the order. But again, doing this for every team, and I have, in my opinion, I play GM, what I think teams should do, basically. I make cuts. We take a look at how much money that can clear, how much cap space that can clear, re-sign some players. And then we have two different paths with a mixture of major free agency signings I think they should target, and then draft picks I think they should target, top-tier draft picks. And that there's two different options, in my opinion, for those. So really excited about these. Hopefully you guys enjoy them because a ton of work goes into these. Full NFL offseason content on the channel, more content than anybody. Anything you can think of, we got it. Free agency, trades, draft, mock drafts constantly. We grade every single free agency signing, so looking forward to that. So please subscribe to the channel. Check out that Twitter. Any news that happens, we break it down instantly. So the news comes out on my thoughts come out on Twitter first, actually. So any link that you need, anything that you're looking for, pin in the comments there. So check it out. Here's the Twitter, giving you guys updates as you can see. Carson Wentz got traded. We broke that down in depth right away. Falcons cut some guys. We broke that down. Everything. We got everything here. And this is how the order is determined. I tweeted out a fan base bracket, so this will create a future video as well, a different video. But I'm taking the team with the most votes from the division with the most votes, which ended up being the Dolphins. So I was ready to make this plan and the graphics for this team for this video. So I checked Dolphins leading the way because the AFC East is leading the way. So I went with the Dolphins. And next, I believe, ended up being, which the video should be out, next day. Sooner maybe, is the Chiefs. I think the AFC West had the most next most votes, so the Chiefs would be next. And we would keep going in that order. There's still voting going on, so you can go vote and try to change the order here. So we'll go through each division leader, and then we'll circle back. So that pretty much means the Bills will be the 9th video to come out. We probably could take a guess there. So yeah, it's important to check out that Twitter. And then I'll also, a lot going on here, I'll pin a link in the comments for this. Kind of gives you a head start on these videos. Projected cap space, in my opinion. Projected cuts, potential cuts, trades, how much space that can save. So pretty informing stuff. Link in the comments for that. The Dolphins. You see at the top, the cap space, I'm projecting $27.6 million. That's kind of worst case scenario right now. It came out this morning that bottom line will be 180 team cap space, team salary for teams. And this was based on 181, so it's very realistic. It's just kind of in that worst case scenario range, but again, realistic. So I made some minor cuts here. I mean, Jesse Davis, I guess, is debatable on if it'll actually happen or not. I thought about it here because he's got some good play, or maybe not good, but he's got some play under his belt there at tackle, and I guess a cheap veteran option to have as a backup. So you could definitely keep him, but some other options I probably expect to happen, and we're going to use this cap space. So, I saved a bit of money here, and we see where it ends up when we get to the re-signings. Increase the cap space to around that $34.5 million range. They don't have major re-signings to go through. That's kind of good. Vince Bagel, edge rusher, they missed him last year because he was hurt. I think they had some plans for him. They liked him. He played quite a bit when he was healthy, before this past year. But they definitely will like it. It's going to be a cheaper option too. And Landon Roberts probably be cheaper. You can upgrade from him at the middle linebacker, but it's kind of hard to find guys. And there's some solid linebackers in the draft, but you can't really predict the draft at this point when you're re-signing. And it's kind of hard to find plug and play inside linebackers, especially, unless you're drafting at the top and there's a top tier guy worth a third pick. There's not there. Parsons is pretty damn good, but not really in our plans here. So I think it'd be pretty safe to get Roberts back. 1 year deal, something along cheap for both these guys. So that kind of made sense. There's some other guys they definitely could bring back. They want to bring Hollins back. Do they want Devon Godchaux? They could. He was hurt last year. Do they worry about the injuries? Do they? I think they want to upgrade that position. They want to get better at nose tackle. Either way to help stop the run. So is it, kind of a waste? They could bring him back, but this is what I decided to do. And then we go to option 1 that I came up with here. So we're combining top-tier free agency signings and top-tier draft picks, first 4 draft picks, which is the first 2 rounds here. Keep in mind where their cap space is at, so it'll be a little less than that from re-signing, just a little bit less. So Aaron Jones, how about Aaron Jones? He could get franchise tagged by the Packers, but there's a chance he doesn't. So I do think this is realistic, and I do think they'll be interested. But I think they should be interested. I'm not a big fan of paying running backs big money, but Aaron Jones, a top 5 running back, and the Dolphins, do they want to go in? Because there's 3 running backs in the draft that I think would be okay if that was your starter going in to the season. But that's 3 out of 32 teams. I mean, how many teams are not 32 are going to draft a running back? But it's a little bit of a gamble, and you kind of just get a lot better with Aaron Jones. I think, making teams they're going to fear Aaron Jones. They're going to fear the run game. It's going to open things up for Tua. I think he possibly, $10 million, $11 million per year. I don't think that, some people won't like that, but I kind of like that there. And then Juju Smith-Schuster, I think, is a pretty damn good fit. I think, mainly you want him outside, but he got some reps in the slot. So I like last year he did. So I like the versatility there. A lot of upside. So you kind of feel comfortable, signing him 4 years even. He's got upside. He's still young, still a big time playmaker, so I think this kind of gives you a pretty damn good duo with Devontae Parker, and Juju Smith-Schuster there. And you probably do need more of that. But, Preston Williams is solid, but probably a rotation guy for the outside. And then Shelby Harris, who can play all over the D-line, but I like him at nose tackle in their scheme. Not going to be overly expensive. He'll probably be less than where I actually think his value was. I was surprised at how cheap he was last year. I think he's a very good D tackle that can play the nose for them. So you plug him in there with Christian Wilkins and maybe Shaq Lawson, whoever you're playing in there, Emmanuel Ogbah at the end. But mainly thinking Harris and Wilkins. That looks pretty damn good. And this might be pretty pricey. Sure, Aaron Jones, like I said, 10, 11 million per year. Juju Smith-Schuster, 14, 15 per year. Shelby Harris, might be on the cheaper side, 7 maximum. And then you go into the draft after you already made these big moves. There's going to be some minor moves after that, after those big signings, of course. But yeah, you look at the draft. Yeah, I take Penei Sewell. You got Juju Smith-Schuster. Penei Sewell is a rare type of guy to come across. The gap between him and the other tackles, other offensive linemen in general, pretty big. This is almost a lock at being a big time player here. So I like him. I'd put him at left tackle. I'd put Austin Jackson at right tackle. People don't like the idea of switching positions, but it's going to make them better right there. So it really not the end of the world. You get a lot better with Sewell. Number one thing is keeping Tua protected. Offensive line is just as important as the quarterback there. So I go that route with the later first-round pick. I like Jalen Phillips a lot. Happens to be from Miami. Nothing to do with this pick, though. He's my number one pass rusher in the class at the moment based on talent. There are some worries because he had quite a few concussions in the past, but I'm not that worried there. He's a really talented pass rusher, can put his hand in dirt or stand off the ball. You filled running back, you filled a receiver, you filled the nose tackle, so you add this pass rusher, and you already got Sewell as well. Then you go into the second round, you get Landon Dickerson, who actually can drop around this range because of the injury, but as a damn good center. He also can play guard at a high level if you need him to. Ted Karras, we didn't re-sign. I'm thinking you can get better in the draft, even if it's somebody a little lower than Dickerson. So I went with Dickerson here in the second, and also in the second, Rondale Moore, who could potentially go higher in this. I think this is more of his range. He is a speed demon, which is, he's freaky fast, and he's a playmaker. But speed kills in today's NFL. Speed always has, but in today's NFL specifically. But yeah, it's a little risky of a pick because he didn't have a big route tree. It's just kind of just get him the ball, and sometimes those guys really drop off of the NFL once they get to the NFL after college. So some teams, not all teams, might be a little scared. That can make them drop a little bit. So they have Juju Smith one side. They got Devontae Parker another. You kind of need that shifty guy inside that can take that, that has that big playability. Kind of helps stretch the field because Devontae Parker, Juju Smith could, they can be the ones doing the stretching, downfield. But Rondale Moore keeps teams feared underneath, Aaron Jones as well. So this is ideal for the major additions. And this is option one. This year, I added an option 2 this year for people that maybe don't like my option 1. Maybe you don't like either one, then I don't know what to say then. But option 2, going free agency, go a little different route here. Maybe you want to keep Austin Jackson at left tackle. Darrell Williams probably going to be there's probably going to be a bidding war for him unless he's franchise tagged, because you look at true right tackles, which there's quite a few teams looking for right tackles because They need them, and because there's a lot more dominant pass rushers rushing off that side in today's NFL. So teams are desperate. Taylor Moton is the top right tackle option here in free agency. Very good season last year for the Panthers. I'm pretty damn confident they're going to franchise tag him. Franchise tag period happens before free agency. That pulls Taylor Moton out. You got Darrell Williams, who could get franchise tagged by the Bills. But then after him, it's, DeMar Dotson maybe. Pretty big drop-off. So teams that want a right tackle in free agency, you're gonna have to, you might have to be in a bidding war for Darrell Williams, but they can go that route. They keep Austin Jackson at left tackle, Darrell Williams at right tackle. Keep in mind, I like Robert Hunt at guard. I love Robert Hunt as a guard, which he can play tackle, obviously, and he's pretty solid there, but I think he can be a Pro Bowl guard. So I love Robert Hunt at guard for the Dolphins. So keep that in mind. But Darrell Williams, right tackle, he might be pretty pricey. Keep in mind, Carl Lawson's going to be more pricey than people think. This guy he's got the freakish tools and traits, a lot of upside. He'll probably be more expensive than people think. He's going to be a damn good pass rusher. I think he's kind of a scheme versatile. Brian Flores doesn't really have a set scheme. You see a little bit of hybrid defense. So I think I think Flores will like Lawson. I think he'll like him a lot. So a lot of teams will be after him too. So then you got to go a little cheaper receiver. I like to fit a Curtis Samuel, guy that can play in a slot, play outside. You can mess around with him in the backfield as well, former running back. So I like that fit. If they don't want to spend too big on receiver like the first option, Juju Smith, I'm pretty confident they'll be interested in Curtis Samuel there. So these made sense to me. Then you go to the draft. Then you get that top receiver in the class, Jamar Chase. I didn't have a scenario with Devontae Smith. Love Devontae Smith. I think he's the second best receiver in the class. There is a scenario where I think they get him. It'd be something if they take Penei Sewell and they trade up for Devontae Smith with the other pick. I think that's a possibility. If I were to do trades for all 32 of these rebuilds, I would have created a mess, so I kind of stayed away from that. But they take Chase at 3. You get the best receiver in the class, safe prospect, elite potential. And then you get your running back in Najee Harris. You pair him with Tua. This offense is looking dynamic right now. So, and then kind of backtrack a little bit. Curtis Samuel and Jamar Chase with Devontae Parker looks pretty good, because Curtis Samuel's really not your number one. He might not even be, I like having multiple number ones, so he's definitely one of those starters out there, but that's why you still need a number one receiver there with Jamar Chase. Second round, Aleem McNeil, so you need that nose tackle. Aleem McNeil is the best true nose tackle in the class, can stop the run at a very high level. Can get some interior pressure as well, but this kind of fills that nose tackle need here that we didn't get in this scenario. And then, I think it's possible, like I mentioned when re-signing Landon Roberts, you can find better, but it's no guarantee that you can get an inside linebacker that'll be an upgrade. It might not be a guarantee you can get one at all in the draft. Just that's how the draft is, especially with the inside linebackers. But you might be looking one for the future. I like to fit a Cam McGrone from Michigan. I think they can use him in some blitz packages. He's really good in the center there, so I like the fit. So two different scenarios, two different options, and I don't know which one I like better, to be honest. So it's interesting to see if they actually do. We'll have our free agency predictions. All these are based on what I would do. We have plenty of predictions, what to look out for, what to expect, good fits, and we'll have final free agency predictions. So those will be on the way as well. But really excited about these. This is just the first one. We are doing every single team. So maybe we can post these on Twitter. I'll post these last two graphics, the two options, and you guys can vote which one. We can do that for every team. That'd be pretty cool. Post it right on Twitter. Option 1, option 2 with the graphics. Which one's better? That would be a pretty cool idea there. So, yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. More to come for sure. More NFL content in general to come. Please subscribe, smash that like button, turn notifications on. Follow that Twitter. Absolute must follow, especially for the off season. But that is gonna do it for this one. Thanks everyone for watching. Goodbye.